Sanford Community Redevelopment Agency held Wednesday, January the 6th, 2016, in the Railroad Depot Room, Sanford City Hall, 2nd floor, 300 North Park Avenue, Sanford, Florida, 32771.
All right. Call the CRA meeting to order. First thing is to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion, have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
You want to start with who's here? or-
Yeah, I'm going to get to that. I forget that every single time. Let's do a roll call.
Steve Chesmer. Paul Osborne.
Brian Volk.
Mike Yeba.
Charles Davis, and also reflect Sheena Ford and Mr. Colbert. Now, where do you get out of here? All right, we got the minutes. Approval of December 2nd. What's this approval of December 2nd regular meeting?
That's what they asked that we change the agenda to look like. So that's the minutes, the approval of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you got minutes and okay.
Mhm.
Show me that. Director's report.
Treasurer's report.
Treasurer, she's not here.
Mm-hmm.
She coming?
Yeah. So we can skip that.
Skip that one too. We've got, as y'all can tell, we have a new format for the agenda. So the next one is Bill Smith.
Mm-hmm.
You're up.
I'm here.
Ranking of the firms for the CCNA.
Yes, we had a real good response. Let me pass these around if you.
Are these the rankings, the sheets?
Actually, I looked at the firm and had the experience. I have a different recommendation than to go through a full-scale round. I think everybody will like to do it that way.
Okay.
Since all the companies are so well qualified, I wanted to make a qualified firm list of these companies, and then as work comes up, do a contract.
One more or two more? So you need to give one to Sheena.
Well, sorry.
Do you have?
Are these just in alphabetical order, or are they in order of
They're just more or less random order. This is the tabulation sheet, which just lists the firms.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, if this is the order they were opened,
Okay.
sorry, I could have made an alphabetical listing.
No, that's fine. I was just curious as to what the...
No, this rank order means nothing in terms of what we think of the firms or anything. It's just a list and the order that were opened, and they were just stacked up, and that was where they were opened. But what this would enable you to do is if this whole list is adopted as a qualified firm list, then the CRA, for those works conducive to the master agreement, could select the firm they want to do that work, and we would initiate the contract at that time, which then would continue on. Because I don't know that we'll use all the firms, but I don't want to preclude some highly recommended firms that may not make the first cut, and I think it'll be doing a disservice to the CRA to do it that way. That we just go with the firms and use them as the work is come up what you want to assign, and we can do pull the contract and do it at that time.
So we adopt all 19 of these, is what you're
As
saying?
a qualified list, not as a qualified list for master agreements. Yes.
Is qualified accept all 19 of them?
Yes, and then you would approve the contracts. You could then do a second approval, basically, at the time the contract would be initiated.
Okay. All right.
I'm not sure that I understand that. So are all of these firms, they're all up for consideration?
They're all qualified. They all met the qualifications of what we were looking for. We had 19 firms meet the qualifications. So correct me if I'm wrong when I make this statement. If we approve, are we adopting or approving?
Well, I guess you would be adopting a qualified list.
So this would be our qualified list that meet the CCNA
Right.
requirements that we could then go in a contract with as long as it was under $50,000.
Right.
Am I right in that?
Under $1 million, it's either $1 or $2 million cost of construction,
Or design at 50?
or if it's a study, it's under $250,000. So, or under $200,000. I don't know. I should have written that down, but anyway, it gives a lot of flexibility. Now, one of the reasons for that is, if you look down this list, you find different specialties, and some firms are large and can do many different operations and have actually multi-specialty firms. And if you want strictly a lot considered for the conditions of the soil and what have you, then there's some firms that have that specific specialty you may want to pull. And it's hard to compare a list like this, one against the other, to develop, say, the top 5 or something like that. And since they're all, highly qualified firms, I see no need to do that.
So, I guess with a CCNA, we can have as many firms as we want?
Yeah, there's
that
no
we can have.
limit on how many.
Are we entering in a contract with each and every one of them?
No, you would take the firms as you approve or come up with work that you want to do. Then you would check this list. If you want to use a master contract, you would pick the firm off of this qualified list that's been adopted, and at that time you initiate the first contract, and then that contract would roll like a master agreement.
But I thought, my understanding of the CCNA was that we actually had to have a contract with them, which allowed us to utilize them following under the rules of that.
We would be able to do a contract. Mr. Kohler can disagree with me, and I'll certainly yield to him. But I see no reason why we cannot do a contract as we enter into the first job or project or design work, whatever it happens to be, with a particular firm, and do the contract at that time based on this qualified list.
Well, then why do we have to go through this whole
It's going to go
process?
for a bid, though, isn't it?
Excuse me?
No.
No, this is not a bid. This is only qualifications. So when you base it against the scoring and ranking, well, in a group like this, ranking becomes somewhat complicated, if not impossible, because the firms have different specialties.
Right.
And since all the firms are very accomplished and have high rankings, they really don't want to list them. I mean, you would not want to exclude them from your qualified list.
I guess and I'll let you go in just one second. Let me just get my questions on my thought process going on. What spurred all this was moving forward on the Oak Avenue 2nd Street project. That's what got us going down this road of having to have contracts with companies that we could then utilize without having to go to bid, as long as it fell under the guidelines. I believe it was, for some reason, $50,000 for design or something like that sticks in my head, and I may be off on it. But we had, in order for us to move forward with the city doing the work, we had to contract with a firm through CCNA in order to allow us to move forward.
Right.
So I guess my confusion is that, from the way it was explained to me, was that in order to have a company under the CCNA master, you had to have a contract with them. You had a running contract with them, then you would be able to utilize their services. Am I right in that part of it, at least? Or close?
Mostly, you're close. The contract, as long as we have a legitimate basis where the firms are all considered on their merit on your qualified list, we are then able to select from that list.
And then enter in a contract
And
as the
enter
project
in a
comes?
contract at that time.
Well, did we have to
So
go
you
through
can
the
pick a company, if there's work you want to assign today, you can pick a company off this list, and we'll go ahead and move forward with the contract on behalf of the CRA, which the CRA would sign.
You got something, Mr. Colbert?
I was going to say, I didn't see the ad that went out, and I didn't see the results that came in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at it at the same time y'all are.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were going to do ranking today. I think what I would be comfortable with is if y'all continue this and let us get with purchasing and simply review it and put it back on the agenda for next time.
Okay.
If y'all are comfortable with that.
Well, I was in, yeah, I mean, originally, staff was gonna rank them for us,
I
and they
understand.
were gonna give us a ranking of 3.
That's what I
And-
thought.
Yeah.
And they were gonna give us a ranking of 3. Some emails floated around prior to the meeting, which I responded back saying that staff was supposed to rank them, and that's what I was expecting to come in. I wasn't expecting a list of 19, I was expecting a ranking of the top 5, top 3, or something like that we would then choose from. And I guess my second part of the question is, in the way you're explaining it, is do you have to go to RFQ in order to have firms to qualify that you can enter in a contract? Because it doesn't seem like it seems like we got a list of people now that if we want to enter in a contract, we can. But that wasn't my understanding of how it worked.
These firms all responded to an RFQ. This was the total list of companies who responded to the RFQ we put out. It's maybe a little unusual to have all the companies, highly qualified companies, and since
What were we asking? What was the asking in the RFQ? I know I read some of it, but I got to be honest with you and just admit up to it. I didn't read the whole
well,
thing.
it was generalized. We didn't say we wanted just design or whatever. We basically engineering specialties, and as a result, we have firms here, and I'll do whatever y'all want to do, but and we met. We were going to rank the firms, and we got to looking and thought, well, this is not going to make sense because you start comparing some of the firms against other firms, and they're not really the same specialties. They're all
Well,
engineering firms.
That's what we need to vet them for, to find out where their strong suits are that pertain to what we want to do. So, I mean, if there are some, I understand that they're all qualified companies, but are they all qualified in the area that we want to proceed?
Well, that's the thing. Of course, they're not. But do you want to throw out companies that you may want to use? If you have work come up in those areas, then you can go back to this list and pull those companies off of it.
So why would we have? Go ahead, Steve.
How do we know from this list what their specialties are? I mean, I know after 20 years in the city, I only know 2 companies on this
Right.
list. And I have a vague idea what CPH does, but I don't know their
I
specialties.
can prepare that list. I can break those down for you. What the thrust of their particular specialty
And
is.
what about the company that came here, made the presentation for the catalyst?
That's
Wouldn't they-
Little John.
That
No,
No,
that's
not Little
Torres.
Rock.
Torres.
Wouldn't they be qualified to be on this list as well?
are you talking about the
Torres.
The
Torres?
Taurus?
Torres. No, Torres.
They're a different type of operation altogether. If
Okay.
we're not seeking that type of, or this did not address that type of an activity.
Here's my confusion and a tad bit my irritation as well, is that we've been trying to kick a project off now for quite some time on that street project. And I think it's been going back almost 5 months now of going back and forth and back and forth. So it started out that the city was going to do it. We were going to reimburse the city. That was great. We started moving forward on it. Then they came back and said, nope, can't do that. We need to do this. And we started doing that. And every single time we come up with a solution to be able to get to the end project, we get another wrench in the spokes. And so in order for us to move forward on the original plan of the city doing all the work and doing the contracts, we had to do a CCNA for design work. And obviously some of the firms on here that come to mind for design work would be Avcon, CPH, or something like that I know of that do that. And we had to do design work through them, through us as a CRA under a CCNA, and then the city could take over after that. That was the last thing that was done that sparred us or made us do the RFQ. So now here we are 60 days later and thinking that we're coming in here to pick 1 or 2 firms so that we can start the project that started this whole thing right here moving forward, and we get a list of 19 people, and now we're talking about tabling it for another 30 days so that we can break the list down, of which at the last meeting, or 2 meetings ago, when it was being opened at the December meeting, was that staff was going to rank them and bring us the rankings. Had it not been said for that, we could have done it. I mean, look, not that we're all qualified, but you can give me a piece of paper, I'll start ranking, and get it done and start moving forward. But we don't ever seem to be taking a step forward. We always either sitting idle or going backwards, and it's getting irritating. It's getting very irritating. I keep getting phone calls, when are you starting this project? And it's almost like we keep getting roadblocks. And at some point, the roadblocks have to stop. You can't keep butting heads with staff, and we can't keep not moving forward, because that's all we're doing is sitting idle. And if that's what we're supposed to do, that's fine. But I don't believe it is. And to bring us a list of 19, it's just, it's not what we all agreed that we were going to do moving forward. And we just can't keep doing this. I don't know if you guys got something to chime in, but this is irritating to me. It is. I'm looking to start a project. We've got money sitting aside, and we've been stonewalled on it for close to 5 months. And not really stonewalled, but it's always a reason we can't do it. And this was the fix-all, and now here we are sitting here, and it's not the fix-all. Now we have to re-rank them. So what's the answer? What do we do to move
not
forward?
ranked. With his opinion, we can probably rank the top 4 right now in a matter of 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So, and then we can pick
Let's
one
do it.
tonight. Let's just get it done with.
And how many do we have to pick? Because quite honestly, what services
One.
what services are we going to do? Well, if we had to pick one out of the ones on here for the project we're doing, I would say go back to CPH and pick them, because CPH is the one that's done the design work on every other street, and all we're doing is carrying it over.
They are highly qualified. They're one of the top companies on this list, and you could pick them today, and we would go ahead and do the contract on behalf of the CRA with them and move forward. Let them move forward with the design.
Is this a motion? Does it need to be a motion to pick them, Mr. Colbert?
Well,
And is CPH the one who designed?
They've done
Our
Palmetto,
street.
Magnolia. They've
They
done,
did the others.
and all we're doing is carrying Magnolia and Palmetto over to here. So it's the same design. So I'd be looking for a motion, and is what I'd be asking for. Are we proper in what we're doing?
The design works out to be under 50,000, isn't
No,
that correct?
the cost of construction has to be under it's either $1 million or $2 million.
No, the design work, 'cause that's all we're doing
The
right now.
cost of the construction, the cost of the design is not really capped.
Okay.
It'll be, we'll have to get together on a fee, but otherwise, we can move forward with this.
Okay, I make a motion to enter into a contract agreement with CPH Inc. for the design of Oak Street, redevelopment of the streetscape.
I don't think we're, Ms. Colbert, before you second this motion, we're entering into a CCNA contract with them for design work, period, as a whole, not just for one project, correct? So it'd just be.
Okay, I make a motion to,
I think a motion, if I can be helpful.
Yep,
let me
please.
just try to be. What I think you have before you is a ranking, and I think if you move to ranks CPH as number 1 on the list and direct staff to begin negotiating a contract with them on behalf of the CRA, that's a sufficient motion.
Get all that? That's one of those water calls.
I make a motion to rank CPH Inc. as number 1 in the tabulation sheet, and for staff to enter into an agreement with CPH on behalf of the CRA.
Second that.
Motion, have a second. Any discussion?
well, is there going to be a cap on the amount, since we don't know what the amount is
It's
going to
capped.
be?
I think there's rules that cap it.
It's got to be the cap of the amount that we've just discussed here.
I don't think we vote on that. I think
Right.
that cap is already
That's
set by statute.
written in
correct?
documentation. There's no issues about
Statute.
adjusting the caps or anything.
We don't.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Those are set by statute, so we
200,000
don't
in
touch
design
them.
and
We're
2
just-
million in construction.
So
Okay.
it is what it is. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Davis?
Yes, ma'am.
Cindy's here.
All right, we're going to back up here to finance. Cindy, how are you doing today?
Sorry, I was late.
That's all right.
We had a meeting. Your financial statements. Agenda items were on the week. the 2-month period ending November 30th, 2015. There's not been a lot of activity. I can tell you that we did get Seminole County's payment in yesterday, or the day before, for the $455,000 towards the CRA for the ad valorem for the year. And other than that, I'll just open up for questions if you have any questions.
Anybody have any questions for her today? Probably gonna have to move a little bit of money around. I think there's a few things that we've got some discussions in some places. Are we, I don't know if that comes from your department, but are we, for events, are we sending money downstairs now? Are we doing that?
They go directly to finance.
To finance just does it all internal? Okay. Mr. Williams, we got him taken care of because I know he paid his costs. And then
He's coming on in February. You're talking about for Pints and Paws?
for the sofas and such, for his reimbursement, because I guess we approved his grant, but he wrote a check to Jennifer and paid it when he got the approval.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to see about getting him a check cut instead of sending it downstairs.
Then he's got to submit something to me, but I'll
That's right.
contact him.
All right. Okay. All right. Anybody got anything else for Cynthia? All right. Thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and city attorney, agenda item number 5 is the special event request for the Martin Luther King celebration. Mr. Melvin Philpott, chairman of the MLK committee, has submitted an events promotion grant application requesting $5,872.56 for the Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. This is a reoccurring event. This is the second year that the MLK committee has submitted an application to the CRA board for an event promotions grant. Last year they received $4,500. Staff is recommending approval to cover city costs for the events that will occur within the CRA boundary. Mr. Philpott.
Well, good afternoon, gentlemen and ladies. And first of all, I'd like to say thank you for your support from last year. I'd also like to recognize Co-Chair Kenneth Bentley sitting back there. And certainly your assistance has gone a long way in helping us be able to put on a quality event in the city of Sanford. We're certainly very proud of it. And we are continuing to try to make it one of the premier events in the city, and certainly with your assistance. Our request, as Sheena has mentioned, is in the amount of $5,872.56. And that primarily covers the cost of our events in the park, as well as the rental of the Civic Center for our annual band. Are there any questions that I can answer for you?
Because this is in 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.
What was the holdup as far as coming so late?
There wasn't one. He submitted his application on time. Because we had the workshop at the last meeting, it was requested to be submitted.
I pushed it back because we were doing all the workshops, and I knew we could approve it in the beginning of January, and we were trying to get anything that wasn't time sensitive off the December agenda.
Gotcha. All right.
So that's
Now
what
we're
it's
trying
done.
to correct some issues.
No
Nothing
problem.
on that. He did
You
everything.
know, we
right.
really work hard to be timely,
Okay.
with
He
the
was timely.
information.
But we kind of, there's another one we pushed back, which they're here today as well, that we're not time sensitive to December, and we wanted to have as much time for the workshop as we could. All right. I'll leave it to the board for action unless you have any questions, Mr. Philpott.
What is it? It says here city sponsorship, 4,000. Is that?
It's a special event. The city kicks in money for this as well to help it.
The city
City
co-sponsors.
Co-sponsors, yes.
I don't have any other questions. I'll make a motion. I move to approve the CRA event funding grant not to exceed the amount of $5,872.56 to cover city cost to the city of Sanford for Sanford's MLK celebration.
I have a motion. Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Well dressed as always, sir.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and city attorney, agenda item number 6 is a special event request for the Ken and Barbie Beauty Pageant. Mr. Steve Smith of E&S Entertainment has submitted an events promotion grant application requesting $683.20. On your agenda, it's saying $627. That's a clerical error. That needs to be $683.20 for city costs of the Ken and Barbie Kid Pageant. This is the first year that the Ken and Barbie Pageant Committee has submitted an application to the CRA for an event promotions grant. The city cost is very minimal. Staff is recommending approval to cover city cost for the venue of the Sanford Civic Center. And Mr. Smith is going to give you a little background.
Welcome, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. Happy New Year, everybody.
And you?
Thank you. The Ken and Barbie pageant will be for kids. Our target age is between ages 4 years old to 11 years old. It's a way to kind of get back into the community, to give back to the community as well as to interact with the community. It'll be in 3 different categories, where it'll be presentation, which will give the kids an opportunity to introduce themselves, as well as what school county they're involved in, whether it's Seminole County, Volusia County, Orange County. We like to reach out. This is the second year that I'm actually having the pageant. The first time that it was done over in Orange County. So this isn't something that is a first time thing. And also with pageantry, I compete as well myself on the adult circuit. So I'm familiar with the way that the system should run as well. Talent will go on, and then of course formal wear and evening gown for the kids. It's really about the kids more so than anything else. And really all I'm asking for is just the funding for the venue.
How many kids are you expecting to be in the pageant?
I'm expecting 40.
40?
20 girls and 20 boys.
Okay. Any questions? How are you marketing to the kids? How are you getting the word out, I guess, is it on the circuit that you travel in? And these are kids, are these local kids in the neighborhoods, or how are we?
Well, currently I'm working out of a salon that's in the Central Florida area.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of our clients that we reach out to are primarily there. We do kids, we do kid events, we pretty much do outside marketing. Every person that comes in we communicate with. Also social media as well.
How many spectators you think will be there?
Hopefully, I'm expecting a lot. My primary goal is to really get into the school systems. If I can present it to the school board and actually get there, then that will be a good opportunity for me.
What did you have last year?
About 325.
300. This happened last year.
Yes.
325 people showed up for the whole event.
Yes.
And you had how many kids did you have last year?
I had 8 girls.
8 girls and no guys. It was just
No guys, it was just girls last year.
And
I
were
think
they-
that my biggest thing last year though was because I was staying in another state at the time, so kind of marketing and having the right people in place down here didn't kind of plan out the way that I was expecting it to, because I was expecting 20 last year as well.
Okay. Anybody got any questions? Anything to add? Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the event grant for the Ken and Barbie Beauty Pageant in the amount of, what was it, $683.20?
$683.20.
$683.20?
Not to exceed.
Or not to exceed $683.20.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Part of the requirements, I know it's in your paperwork, but we do require you to come back and give us a post
60 days.
event. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Oh, Shane, I'm just looking over here. That's, well, it's only 30-cent difference, but
Oh, okay.
$683.50.
It's 50?
Mhm.
Okay, so then we need to change that. Do we need
Do we
to
need to
change the
revise?
motion?
It's 30 cents.
It's $683.50, not 20. So,
I'll give her the 30 cents.
okay.
Okay, put that, make sure that gets in the
Yeah,
record.
I got it. Okay, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, city attorney. Agenda item number 7 is a special event funding, request for the market. More Wisdom of Little Fish Huge Pond has submitted an event promotions grant application requesting $1,679.75 for city costs of the market. The objective is to make the Sanford Entertainment District unique and a fun area to shop, drink, eat, and play. Staff is recommending approval to cover city costs for the market. Ms. Wisdom is here, and some other merchants from
It's your time to be
the
seen.
Sanford Avenue area. Ms. Wisdom?
Hi, we have Chantel from Chantel's. We have Pete and Greg from Wops Hops. We have Jim Lee from Ellen's Wine Room.
I just heard.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, and I brought some of the volunteers and the actual vendors who have benefited from the market. We've been doing it for about 6 months just on my block. Paul from the West End, I don't think he can make it today, but he is in support of it also. And I don't like to blow my own horn,
Come on.
but I have, no, I really don't. Because sometimes it might be the button. But I've grown the Pirate Festival from 100 and something people one year, it's 4,000 this year. We've been doing this, it seems to be a great success. It's the best business of the month, business night of the month when I do it. And from hard pushing, I just made the top 25 most beautiful bars in Central Florida, number 10. I think they saw it at nighttime. And I made the top 20 list of the best hidden bars in Central Florida. I was number 2. And I just made the list of 20 in Central Florida of the best bars. So I don't know why or how, but kudos I can't eat on. And all the others, the Celery City got kudos, Chantel's gotten kudos, Wops Hops, the first brewery, everybody's gotten stuff, but we can't eat on kudos. But we do know bringing people down, it's a numbers game, and it works. So that's why I'm asking for a calendar year. We have different themes this month, and I put a little thing out for what this month is. February is Brotherly Love. It's also Black History Month, so I think Brotherly Love would be a good fit for our city. March, we may do Spring Break. That's too rowdy. We'll do Low Country Crab Boil because, after all, it's too late for Mardi Gras. April is going to be Arts in April. We haven't really set it to June yet. July is Sanford on a Hot Tin Roof. Of course, as September rolls around, instead of closing that one date I used to do, it would be this date. And by not charging the vendors, and there's a couple people here that can tell you what it means to them. When you charge a vendor and they have to be all the insurance, all the travel, pay to be there, it makes it very hard for them to make money. This involves a community. If someone has cottage goods, jellies, baked goods, stuff, they're welcome. If someone has a few yard sale things that are appropriate and look good, they can sell them. They need their own tent table and their own money. That's all we ask of them. If the party comes to us, and by the way, November will be a powwow, a Native American festival. I went to the fairgrounds and they were thrilled to death if it could happen. They were all willing to come and get some education on Native Americans and Native American Month. So I guess that's what I'm trying to do, and I'm hoping after a year, if they see the successful, maybe the city attorney and the police chief will think that the Solo Cup district is good, and we could charge a $5 bracelet to pay for the city costs, and I would no longer be a burden on the CRA.
Did you just call it the Solo Cup District?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Explain the event a little bit. I know I've talked to you already, but I don't think they have. So explain exactly what your goals are and what you're trying to accomplish and what you're doing.
What we're trying to do, we call it the market, and we have a theme. The first time it was the Parisian market, and it piqued a lot of interest. Then we did the Floridian market. It was all about Florida, kitschy Florida stuff. Then we did, I think, Oktoberfest. We've done Halloween. We did new resolutions for the new year. We did holiday before that. What we're trying to do is bring together actors, writers, artists, musicians, community, different groups of people with different interests. Because if we keep getting the same people down, we need to make it broad. We need to make Sanford Avenue pop. So far, if you're down there during the weekdays, we're busy maybe a couple times a week. The rest of the week, it's pretty slow. I know when the street was closed, I only brought in $66,000 all year. I thought I was going to die. The next year, it went up about 20%. Now we're up to about 47% this past year. And I know what's working, and the road's open. It's beautiful. Word of mouth is slow. We don't have any big corporations downtown to draw from 1792. So my volunteers, which are great artists and chefs and all kinds of things, they are really kicking butt to help me. They get nothing monetary out of it. If they're an artist and they sell their work, they do. But it's all for the love of bringing a unique bohemian feel to the entertainment district and make it busy, make it thrive. That's what I'm trying to do. And I do want a paycheck.
What? You want a paycheck?
It's been 8.5 years. I'm waiting for one.
Oh, from your business. Okay, never mind. Now, what's the set? Is it a Live After 5 kind of setup? Is it a straw market kind of setup? I mean, what exactly?
It's a combination. It's more like Live After 5 was originally, in the sense that it's not going to be a whole lot of corporations. It's all, like I said,
Local
actors.
businesses.
Every corner will have an acoustic, a guitar, so they don't drown each other out. Every corner will have a live artist. We're trying to get specifically downtown business, like Tony's, like the Corner Cafe, like Chantel's, if she wants to sell beef patties out there. We're trying to make it, in the beginning, specifically more downtown. If we need to get a few other vendors from far away, because I have enough, we're trying to stick to Seminole County or in the area. We're trying to make it, people feel they're getting a cool value to come down there. We are not asking to sell any liquor or beer in the street. We want to drive them inside. We do want to have open container, but the idea is, I've learned over the years, if you just have a booth outside selling, they don't get the flair of your bartender, your building, does your bathroom work, what the place looks like. But then when they go outside, it's different. I've even thought of, for the Pirate Festival this year, to have a sound system and a cool DJ and various music throughout, so it's heard from 2nd to 5th, not too loud, it's controlled. I mean, I've got a lot of different ideas rather than having to find sponsors for tons and tons of bands and different people. If the vendors don't have to pay, they are the show. And the entertainers are allowed in special events to open up the guitar case. They can get money, they can get gigs from it. So it's not like I'm asking people to do something for nothing. I'm not asking them to do anything I won't do.
You're closing 2nd to 5th?
Trying to close 2nd to 5th now. And this
Trying, or
open,
you are?
well, I am. The commission approved it, but now, Chantel, you're moving to 6th block?
No, it's 501.
Oh, of course, right on the corner. Okay, because there's the root lady, too, that'd be cool, but she could just bring her stuff down.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, 2nd to 5th.
And you're 1679, and you're going to do it every month?
Every fourth Saturday.
Every fourth Saturday?
But what does this mean here where it says 4 months?
I don't know where that came from, I'm sorry. Oh, we've been doing it. Well, at the time I applied, we'd done it for 4 months without closure. Now we've done it for 7. And I had a few other people here. I know Chantel, seems like some people would like to.
But Mo, you should be to 6th Street with the root lady, with the juice lady involved.
But we have to go back through the commission, which is fine. But we didn't know this was going to happen. And that really is the entertainment district, isn't it?
Sure.
From
Sure
2nd
it
to
is.
6th.
The chapel? Yeah.
I would agree with that.
And Claire's Hats may want to get in on it.
Sure.
Did-
Any of those things for that new business.
Can the city do this 12 times for $1,600?
A time. That's one time. $1,600 every month.
20,000 a
It's
year.
20,000 a year.
20,000.
Well,
So is this something we would need to approve monthly?
well, you're asking us to approve it for the calendar year.
One calendar
right now.
year. And at the end of the year, or before the end of the year, review it. And like I said, I'm going and hoping that we'll get a solo cup district down there. Many other cities do. Bracelets are sold either by the city or businesses. They're dated that date. They say the city. If anyone has a drink on the street without a ban, they're fine. That eliminates minors. That eliminates skeevers. And then instead of y'all helping me with 1,600, the city would receive 5,000. They get to keep it.
Sure.
Can we do this on a quarterly
Well, that's
basis?
what I was about to say is that here's the thing. It's a new event that you're
Right.
starting out.
Okay.
With even a Live After 5, we're having a Live After 5 come in on a quarterly basis. For us, it's getting the biggest bang for the buck. and we need we're after people coming down and seeing the district. So for me to go a year right now without knowing the history of it, I agree with him on the fact that I would probably not be in favor of that, but I am in favor of supporting the event. I would say quarterly, do a quarter, let you come in, give us a report. But I have to tell you, we'd be looking for some true numbers. And also the other thing I'm looking for myself personally, and that's one of the things I told you on the phone, is I want buy-in. I mean, for us, Live After 5 on First Street has buy-in of everybody, restaurants mainly. But to have buy-in to where everybody's working together and getting to banging, it's just not one bar or one place, one person doing it.
Right.
That's why we're all here.
I know. Well, I asked for that.
Yeah.
So, for me, to quarterly, I think quarterly, and let you come back and see.
Okay.
Not with a guarantee that it would carry on, but we'd be looking for numbers, and if it's a good event, then if it's something that's bringing people to Sanford, I can't see why we wouldn't support it. But you have to show us that it's doing it. It's easy to do one event that's a yearly event because we support the event, we know what it did, and we know what to do for the following year. With you, it's a little different because you're doing it monthly, and we don't have a track record. So you'd have to give us reports. We want to know how many people were coming in, and maybe some pictures of it, but to give us a feel for it, and some of us might be there.
Cool. Well, what I will do for the last few I've done, because I know Greg might have benefited from it, I think Jimmy did. I'll give you my actual figures off my register, not for everybody else to see, but I will give it to you, and you will see that
that's. You made $66,000 last year, and it's up 47%.
No. That was a year the street was closed.
Right.
That was Death Valley. It's come up from them, but not fast enough, also.
For me, not as worried about what you're making. For me, it's more worried about who you're bringing into town.
Right.
That's
Okay.
what we're
The
after.
amount of people that are on the street.
We're after people. We're
Well,
really after it's per person. What are we spending
Yes.
per person to get them down there?
I think it is people because me making those 3 lists and getting 25 4- and 5-star reviews on Google in December alone is because they have been coming down.
Mm-hmm.
And
I truly know that's true.
can I say something real quick?
Yes.
The city went through an interesting transformation when the county moved up 1792, or down 1792, however logistically you want to look at it. And the arts district and the artists in general, Mo being one, these guys, a lot of people here being artists, are what made the city it is today, since then. So if you want a track record of work like Mo's or myself or other people in town, look at the city. Look where it is today.
Don't disagree on that statement. Just that for us and CRA dollars to justify them, it's people coming in.
Very reasonable.
Okay.
So I mean, so realistically, it's going to be a little different than you're used to in the past of doing an event because you're gonna have to sell us on the event for the most part. And
Okay.
So have somebody taking pictures, show us people there. Coming in and saying we had a great event, 400 people showed up and we did well, is not going to carry it anymore. We're really looking for a little more meat on the bone. That's where I'd be at on it. And I don't know if you guys got anything you want to put out there.
Now, you'd mentioned food vendors.
Well, if
No,
what I'm
Vendors.
talking about with vendors is like if Chantel wants to
Oh, just a local.
Bring it.
local, yeah,
Okay, all right.
yeah.
You did say one thing is, I would hope that you not disallow anybody to come down with a 10 by 10 tent and a car to get there. Because you had mentioned you didn't care who came down as long
Well,
as it was a 10
no,
by 10
obviously
tent.
they're not going
I
to
know.
have Uncle Dick's porn stash for sale.
They were great last
No,
year.
I mean I would. I'm not going to have anything look crappy. I promise.
Yes, you would, Mo.
No, I'm not. But I didn't know if Greg or Pete had something they wanted to say, or Ellen. Did y'all want to? Because this is your show too.
Yeah, I would say that with businesses moving, changing, closing, it's definitely quieter on our end of the street. So when Mo presented this to us, of course we were excited about it because the more people we can bring to the beautiful cultural corridor, then your dollars that went into that project will be seen by more people. And for us, what we'll bring to the table is we have musicians, we have my wife is an artist, she has a lot of artist friends, so we can bring the true culture in music, art, entertainment, and food and craft beer to that section so that the people who don't normally see it will finally see we have a lot to offer on that end of the street.
I'm still laughing at that. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, I was going to give you credit. I'm glad I didn't do it early. I was going to say, over the years of doing events and working with you, you used to be so crazy on one end. I said, about to tell you, you mellowed out so well, and I was so impressed when you come to the meeting. You didn't say one bad thing, but you kind of blew that one. So it's good. I love having you at the meeting.
3 months, I'll be great.
I love having you at the meeting. All right, with that all being said, I'll leave it to the board for action.
How would we structure a motion for something like this? If we're going to do quarterly, do we need to specify
What's that number?
an amount?
Yes.
He has a number.
$5,037
It would probably be a little bit more, including that one
No,
street.
that's 3 months.
for 3
Oh,
months.
yeah.
That's 3 months.
But we have to go back through the commission to get the a new application, to get the
Correct.
block added.
Right, but
For
would we
what
have
now?
to come back and do the
Extension
increase
6.
again? Can we get the?
You want to go up one
increase here?
street?
Yes, sir.
Talking about $150.
If we knew
Does
we
this-
had that, that'd be awesome.
Well, two things. Number one is the CRA can only approve something that's already been approved by the commission.
Okay.
So realistically, unless you want to table this again and come back after you get commission approval, you may have to work out the extra block for yourself.
No, that's
the next
cool.
time you
I'll
come.
go ahead and apply with the commission with Jennifer now. So by the time Chantel gets her business all moved and opened up, and tell them why we're trying to be expedient, and then maybe if I get it in for the next meeting, can it be like an
If we approve it
addendum?
now, we're approving it for an amount not to exceed a certain amount a month, which is going to be the 1679 75. So if you get an extra street added on, and you're talking $100 for the next quarter, you guys would probably have to go ahead and come up with that $100 yourselves and do it yourselves.
Would everybody be willing to pitch in till we can get it going?
You guys can work that out later.
Okay,
You can
yeah.
work that out later.
Yeah.
But we're going to approve the amount of what's before us now, and go on that part if the board so
So it's
chooses.
January, February, March so far. We have to come back in April.
Okay.
You come back in April regardless to give us a report on
Oh,
what
yes,
you're
sir.
doing. And at that point, with what the event is doing, then the board will collectively decide if they want to fund it any farther down there.
And I'll get every business to do a report of how they
That'll be fine.
saw it.
Now it's going to be, I want to keep stressing because it's going to be a lot different than what we've expected in the past.
I
In
understand.
the past, it's been very lackadaisy, and we really don't. We're really, after December's meeting, we really changed that. We really are going to hold you guys accountable
And-
to give us a full report. Because at the end of the day, it's $5,000, and if it was your $5,000, you'd expect a big report from somebody, and we're going to do the same on our end.
Right. If it didn't work out, believe me, I'm not beating myself to death over
Yes, ma'am.
anything
we do wanna support you
anymore.
guys.
It's gotta bring me.
Mr. Evans?
And I would be interested also to see a list of the vendors or the people that are coming in setting up tents. And
And there's going to be some pictures as well.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see some pictures.
Well, you know what we wanted to do, but we ran out of time and there wasn't space. We wanted to set up an area out there of a lot of the different vendors just to show you what they did. Just a little, an area to show you exactly what they do. And we can bring more of that in April if you
239,
like.
21.
All right. I'll leave it to the board for action.
25.
Thanks. Okay, I'm going to make a motion. I move to approve a CRA event funding grant not to exceed the amount of $5,039.25 to cover the city cost for the market, and that is for a quarter.
I second the motion.
I have a motion. I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good luck to you guys.
Thank you.
Are you moving chickens? Yes.
To the house?
No, not before the house, on the corner.
Oh, where they're building all. Oh, cool, good for you.
We've been building forever.
Yeah, forever. Congratulations. Same,
We
Yeah, young one.
we approved that,
same concept?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Mr. Davis. We did a facade grant for that.
Okay, good.
We did a
Congratulations.
facade grant for that.
Yes.
You good?
Thank you. That's right. Yeah. As Sheena just pointed out, we actually did a facade rebuild. It's a
It was a
facade grant.
facade
We did a
grant.
facade grant to get that building up. It's the old. It's the orange building that's down there now. It's right before the house.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Youngbloods on Sanford Avenue on the left hand side. It's really about the last commercial building, I think, on the left hand side before you hit the first
What are
house.
all those planters there for?
Ask Mrs. Dalton on that one.
Okay.
Christine Dalton will explain that to you. They're for plants.
Okay.
All right.
Alrighty, agenda item number 8 is a facade improvement grant. Mr. Giuliani
has submitted an application for 300 East 2nd Street. Just to let you know, in 2014, he applied for three facade grants, and he received $1,742.50 for 419 South Sanford Avenue, $2,150 for 500 South Sanford Avenue, and $2,029.50 for 512 516 Sanford Avenue. Everything was turned in a timely manner, and he has received all funding. He is requesting $10,000 for a facade improvement grant. Mr. Giuliani?
You're representing the owner, right?
Yeah,
This is
the
not
owner,
your property.
John Giuliani, I'm here. I'm
Is
not
the owner here?
It's Margaret Bayshore. No, they're out of town.
Okay.
I'm here as a contractor.
Okay.
In Portland.
All right. I'll have to ask the question when we get to the next one, but go ahead. You want to tell us about the project?
This is for the 2nd Street Station, which is going to be a microbrewery. We're renovating the outside, inside, total rehab of the whole thing.
This is the gas station?
The gas station. We're enclosing with the glass doors on it, so it looks like the old station. That's where the brewery area is. Then the inside area is going to be a little bar, and there's a lot of sitting area outside. We're preparing one area with a slab, so they can actually add in a covered area, so it'll look like the old canopy where the gas pumps were.
So
but that'll
this-
be for the future.
This is the place that's on the corner of Palmetto
Where we
and
park our
Second.
cars.
So we looked at that years ago. I'm assuming that's a similar design as to what we approved on HPB
That was
back
the
when
guy
we
wanted to
served.
build a barbecue place.
Right.
Yeah.
It's been approved by HPV already, correct?
Well, that
No,
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 your project.
Yeah, we're waiting for the permits for it. We're not building until we get.
I remember seeing the stop work order in the window.
Oh, that was from electric. There
Is that what it was?
a
Okay.
problem with electric from a while back.
But you've already gone through HPB?
Yeah, everything's been approved.
Okay. I know Mrs. Dalton, I think, put in here that it's it may not be in the facade grant, but I think it's in the second one.
It's on both of them.
It's in both? Okay, I
She
know I
said
read
that
it.
it was reviewed
Nice.
and approved.
I guess my only question, and it just might be nothing later, can a contractor come and present for an owner? Is that okay?
It's okay for the contractor to be an owner's rep and make a presentation. You will approve it on behalf of the owner.
Of the owner? Okay. All right.
And I believe she signed the application.
No, just
So,
housekeeping,
just wanna make
making
sure.
sure. Because what happens is they talk about it after the meeting, and then we have to do another meeting to fix it. I just wanted to clarify it early. All right. Leave the board for action. Any conversation, questions?
Well, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I just want to make sure that there's been no changes or deviations from the original approval from HPB to
Yeah, we
what.
went back a second time for some minor stuff. Christine saw when we submitted the plans for the permitting. She noticed there was some little block walls that were exposing the roof from the bathrooms right on the back. We corrected those, turned them back in, and that's what she just signed.
Okay, but the application I'm looking at is the most recent up to date.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you talking the CRA application?
Well,
Oh, we went
this
back a-
request.
I want to refrain from. It got us in trouble last time, and we got called out a little bit on it. Is that we have nothing to do with HPB. We don't approve HPBs. You know, our one thing that we do is that we are told by HPB that it's approved, and then that's it. And you can ask the question. I don't mind asking the question, but you know, I don't want to construe where people get confused that if we're asking the question that we're giving them approval. It happened once before.
Valid point to
And
make.
so, you know, let's stick to the CRA stuff on that. It has been approved by Christine Dalton. She has given it her approval. Actually, we were going to table it if we did not have the approval because she was on vacation. She did give it the approval, so we have to, at this point, assume from the CRA standpoint that it has met all the requirements for HPB. And if it's not, they'll handle it down there, and we've done our part.
Okay. That was my only concern.
Yes, sir. All right. I leave it to the board for action.
I make a motion to, I make a motion to approve the facade improvement grant in the amount of $10,000 for the property located at 300 East 2nd Street, subject to satisfaction of program requirements.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
What? Was it?
Mike.
Okay.
Either or.
Mike never seconds the motion. We got to give him that one. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
Mr. Giuliani, you're up again.
He's up again. Agenda item number 9 is for the same building, and he's requesting a rehab loan subsidy grant for 300 East 2nd Street. Based on the application submitted, the applicant is eligible for up to $49,830. We currently have an unencumbered balance of $62,356 in our rehabilitation loan subsidy, and we can have him explain what's going to be done.
I think you just did. Go ahead.
This is for the balance. There's a lot more of the outside. For the facade, we're completely tearing everything up, putting in all new brick pavers, cast iron, the aluminum fencing around the whole outside, stockade fence up around the back side for the dumpsters and delivery areas, putting the glass garage doors on, tearing the bathroom off the back of the building, adding 2 new bathrooms on, so that's our male and female bathrooms. Upgrading the electric, plumbing, pretty much everything.
They do anything with the shuffleboard courts?
Yeah.
Can't.
We didn't even know they were there until we owned them.
I know. That's kind of neat. When are you looking at starting construction?
There was one revision on the blueprints. That's all we're waiting on for pick up the permit.
So once you have the permit, you're starting right away?
Yeah.
Okay.
And even if we were waiting for this approval first, so we can start.
And with the owner not being here, I'll just say it is that she has read the paperwork. She is aware that a lien will be put against the property and everything, all that. Okay. Any questions? Leave it to the board for action.
So what is the amount?
$49,830. 49,830.
I move to approve the rehab loan subsidy grant for rehabilitation of 2nd Street Station LLC, 300 East 2nd Street, in the amount of $49,830.
Second.
Subject to satisfaction.
Oh, subject to satisfaction
Program requirements.
of all program requirements.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Good luck. Looking forward to that building getting done.
When do they hope to open?
What's that?
When do they hope to open?
It'll probably take about
July 4th.
5-6 months to go out.
Cool, good luck.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, item number 10, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, city attorney, the director's report. Jim Payne 5K, there's no one here, so I'm just going to read briefly the letter that she sent, and then you all can just review her post-event report. On behalf of our staff and the thousands of children we serve, thank you for your generous contribution to the Kids House for the Jim Payne 5K for the Kids. We appreciate the Community Redevelopment Agency covering our city costs. Your contribution allows us to make a difference in the lives of children affected by abuse, and what's more, play an important role in their recovery and healing process. So, and she submitted, you'll see attached, an overview of the event, as well as the economic impact and marketing and promotional benefits. And what was not requested, but she did submit, as they always do, a list of everyone that participated in the event.
I don't know if anybody got a chance to read this whole thing, but I have to tell you something. I'm going to go ahead and give props to somebody who hasn't even spoken yet, but this one and the next one coming up absolutely are what we look for in a post-event. They're just done phenomenal. I mean, we have the zip codes of every person that ran in it and where they came from, and it gets very detailed. And then on the second one, I'll let her do a report, but kudos to them. I wish they were here because I always like to tell them thank you. And it really set the standard for what we need to start looking for in a post-event report moving forward. So, like that.
Alrighty, agenda item number 11 is the St. John's River Festival of the Art. This applicant was approved for an event grant, and being that Liz is here, do you want to come up to the table?
She's doing a post event on for the Lake Monroe Air Show Seafood Festival.
Yeah, that's what we're discussing.
Oh, you're reading St. John's.
Well, that's what.
Right.
That's who did it.
Gotcha.
Uh-huh.
You do it for a loop.
I'm sorry.
You do a presentation.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to beg.
For the Lake Monroe Air Show and Seafood Festival, sponsored by the St. John's River Festival of the Arts.
Thank
Okay.
you. Happy New Year. Thank you all very much for having us here. Everything is pretty much outlined in our post-event report. We were very pleased with the results. We did change it up a little bit, and the seafood aspect of it was a huge success. We underestimated what a good idea that was. So we are going to continue with that. We are, as with any event that you do, you have your successes and then you have your weaknesses and the things that you want to improve on. And next year we want to beef up the air show a little bit, and we are contemplating getting a name band to take the stage in the evening. So that way we've really captured as many demographics as we can get our hands on. During the day we are really promoting it as a family-friendly event. I don't know if any of you were there. We had these blow-up soccer balls. It's balloon soccer. Oh, it's a hoot. You get inside the ball and you run around in it, and that was a big success. So we're going to be looking for more things to keep people entertained during the day, and especially the families with children. We estimate our attendance was at approximately 7,000. We can substantiate that with the data that we got from our vendors and from our sales with the refreshments. We were very successful in growing our vendors this year, and we think it was a really good event, and we're excited to go ahead and do it again next year.
It was a good event.
Yes, Mr.
I'm
Davis,
partial.
you were an integral part of that.
It was partial. It was a great turnout, and we really, the seafood thing, it was amazing how many people came for that. I mean, truly came because we had seafood. I was shocked at that one. So.
And we had really good seafood.
Yeah, we really did. So, anybody got any questions? Any comments?
No.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
Thank
it, and we do appreciate your support very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
See you next month.
You got it.
Mr. Davis, members of the board, and Mr. Chairman, we have one item that's not listed on the director's report that I was requested to bring before the board, which is 120 South Park Avenue. On April 1st, 2015, the CRA moved to conditionally approve the application for a rehab loan subsidy in the amount of $114,940.10 based on a rehabilitation project scope of work of $282,536.10. The letter of approval was sent out on April 8th, and an agreement was sent out, and there was an issue regarding the amount. It says that he's supposed to receive $56,000 according to the agreement, $56,583. When I spoke with finance, it was stated because he had already had a rehabilitation grant. However, at the last meeting, we spoke about this, and it was supposed to be per address.
Correct.
So I'll leave it up for discussion.
What's the discussion?
Because he's supposed to be approved for $114,940, and we need to change.
Who did the application?
Mr. Group.
And did the $56,000 get done by them saying that he already had a grant and they put it in there before bringing it to anybody else?
Mm-hmm.
It's always been addressed, and I think I sent Mr. Colbert an email on that as well. Steve Tipstra, it's never been per person, it's always been per address. So I guess I'm a little confused as to why we're even having the discussion and how it got to that point, and how come when was the contract, when was it signed and initiated?
In June.
It was originally agreed upon and signed off by the CRA and approved for the 114 in June, correct?
It was approved by the board in April
For how much?
for $114,000, and that's what we presented to the board.
Right.
And the board approved $114,000. We sent out a letter from Mr. Turk saying that he was approved for $114,000 because the scope of work was $282,000.
Yes.
Our attorney said that he was only eligible for $56,583.
Real quick also is that, when did he say that? Because I'm curious as to why June and now we're here in January and this is the first we're hearing about it and the contract was signed in June, we voted on it in April.
We brought it back to him after it was discovered that it said $56,000. Because what we submitted to him was $114,000. So
what was the date on that? When we went back to him?
I have an email.
And are they? I guess I'm a little confused. Are we still saying that he's not eligible for it, and that's why it's back and forth?
He is eligible
Are we
for
needing
it.
to change the contract?
We don't need to
He's
change the
eligible for it.
contract.
What happened is there's two different addresses, and they did not pay attention to the addresses, and therefore cut the funding. And we were not made aware that the funding was cut either. So my concern is why here again the city is cutting funding and making decisions that we're not aware of.
Yeah, that's something I'm going to bring up in the next thing. But and to Paul's point, we're the last to know.
It's very embarrassing.
It is, and I mean, it's always. I guess my confusion is it's always been addressed. We've never had this problem. It's always been addressed, and now all of a sudden it's a problem. And it's a problem that's stemming. My guess is that Mr. Hawkins, you came to get a check, and it was only going to give you $56,000. And he said, "What's going on?" And that spurred this conversation. And it's the lack of communication, and I don't know where it spurs from, but it shouldn't have come to us. Once they realize that it's addressed, I mean, is anybody doubting that?
Well, you've seen the emails. So I've put it out there a couple times. So that's
And
why
no
I'm bringing it
response.
before the board.
Unless I got kicked out of the email stream.
So
It's
I
always
just
been
need
addressed.
permission to make that 114 instead of it saying 56,000, because the agreement has already been executed.
So what do we do, Mr. Court, make this right?
It's agreement for 114.
Let me ask just a quick question or two, because I wasn't originally part of it. Do the minutes show the approval of 114 or whatever it is?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
They show.
Okay.
And we even discussed at that meeting between us that it's per address, not per person.
Yes.
We
I
had that
remember
discussion.
being in the meeting, last month or the month before, where it was discussed that it is per address. I saw an email during the holiday, and I asked Mr. Groot about it, and he said that he would get the record of whatever the board approved. And I told him whatever the board approved would be what it is. I didn't know it was coming up before the board.
I didn't know it was coming here today either, so.
Because whatever the board approved is what it is.
Yeah.
And
We just
if we have a record of that, the contract can be corrected without more formal action of the board, as long as it's clear what the board approved.
It'll be in
And we're
minutes.
still encumbered, correct? We
Yes.
still have the money encumbered, so we're still there.
Should be right.
But it still doesn't rectify the problem. It
We'll
doesn't
have that-
fix the problem.
Let's finish this one and we'll go into the next discussion.
Pardon me?
Let's finish him and then we can go
Well,
into a discussion.
it
on
is
that.
part of the problem.
I know, but I think we can get into a better discussion on that here in just a second.
Okay.
Just bear with me 2 seconds, Paul. I think we're on the same page.
Okay.
So realistically on this one, because Mr. Hawkins, we don't need to do anything, and pretty
As
much
long as the
staff can
record
fix
is clear, which I haven't seen, but I'm not doubting your word on it, then the contract can be corrected.
Now, Mr. Hawkins, real quick, are you? Because I know the project needs to be completed before you come for money. Did you come to submit for money, or because I know it's not done yet?
All I'm trying to do is just correct this contract.
Okay, fair enough. I thought you came to get a check, but you caught it. All right.
Yeah.
How far out are you thinking before you're going to be done?
Gosh, I've been told so many different times. I'm hoping within a month, but
Okay.
you know,
Wow.
with that being said, probably 2 or 3, but
There you go.
What are those poles? What's that gonna be?
they're gonna be, those are light poles, actually, and there are gonna be lights from the building streaming to those poles. And
Okay.
we're gonna-
I got you.
I was wondering.
So just think about
So-
what we're gonna do with it.
There is no motion or anything necessary. We don't need to
Staff
move
needs
to
to
correct the,
Just fix it.
just,
Fix it.
That'll be,
Do you want something? Are you looking for something?
No, the executive director asked me to discuss it at the meeting so
Okay.
that it's on record,
On record.
because staff was having an
Okay.
issue with
Okay.
it.
it'll be in the minutes though, so it'll be.
Will you send out an email tomorrow and CC me on it with everybody else that needs to be CC'd on it? Keep in mind too, guys, if they CC all of us on it and we're voting on it, we can't really reply back. You just have to read it and understand that it's that. But and just let's get this fixed, because I agree with Paul. It is kind of embarrassing. It's fixable. It means you have to take time out of your day, and we apologize for that, but it is fixable, and we'll get to that. Thank you, sir. Sorry you had to come down here.
Thanks so much.
All right. To your point, which is my point, Lee, walking in right now, is that we had a discussion a few months ago about legal, and Mr. Culver's been coming, but it seems that we still have everything on in the back house still being done, and it still seems to be confusing, and we don't ever seem to get an answer. I don't know that you're aware of it, but the agenda was changed. Mr. Groot, which I sent an email and he never responded back to it, and that's fine. I like the new agenda. I think the new agenda needs to be the way it is, but to do it on New Year's Eve when somebody is off of work and they only came in to release it, and then start directing staff and doing that, and then changing an agenda without ever coming to us and asking to do, we probably need to do. If you came to us and said legally we need to do it, yes, we probably do. It is a nice agenda. It does follow the commission's agenda, and we need to be transparent. But it's just being done, and it's just being done whenever. I mean, New Year's Eve, I wasn't working, but I'm getting phone calls from her because she's here trying to release something, and Mr. Groot is calling her and making her totally rewrite the whole thing when she only came in to release it. So with that being said, I truly fall back on what I said before, and I truly believe that we need to have somebody that is talking to the city's council, to the city attorneys, and is working with them and working for us and not 50 other things. And maybe at that point, Mr. Groot is telling the CRA's attorney, you guys need to take a look at your agenda. And then that person who is working for us is coming to us and letting us know, because at the end of the day, the attorneys are working for the CRA to at least let us know what we're doing. I mean, we don't know until we get the bill or until she gets fed up and sends an email. And quite honestly, if anybody should be CC'd in an email, that it should be at least the chair or vice chair if you can't get a hold of us. But we're not knowing about it until we find out it's a problem. And it's just a lack of communication. And what it does is it stems down, and we have incidences like this right here where we have a gentleman coming in because his contract is written wrong. And how does that happen? I mean, that's been that way since day one. I mean, that's almost like not putting gas in your car. You know it's what we do.
Well, on top of it all, the situation with that, unfortunately, is that individual with his corporations and the insurance that he has there, he's employing 50 people full-time in the city of Sanford. He's got another 200 independent contractors in the United States. Now, that's just his insurance building that's there. He also has 2 other bars there and the popcorn place and everything else. So he's employing a lot of people. And yet we have this situation happen because somebody just arbitrarily decides to make a decision to change something, and nobody here has the courtesy of knowing it. We can't have that happen. I understand that someone may not agree with what was done and someone may have an issue, but there's a proper way to address it and not just decide you're going to change it and create the impact that we've had for this man financially. Now, we only know of this particular instance. Who knows what's been happening in the past, been dusted under the carpet.
I don't think anything has been dusted on the carpet, but I understand your frustration. I do understand your frustration, and it's mine too. And I'm a pretty active chair, and I try to stay up with everything. And I make sure when it's something of importance, I make sure I ask Sheena to send you guys an email, because I don't think I'm directly allowed to send you an email. But realistically, I don't know that the change is warranted or necessary, but I think it's something we should investigate. And what I'd like to do is to let's meet with somebody. I don't know if it's an RFQ or if it's having Mr. Turk find, because I don't think legal falls under CCNA, correct?
It does not.
You can just hire whoever you want to, as long as they meet the requirements and all that, but you don't have to go through any process. Let's find 3 people that can do what we need them to do, that are versed in government, and interview them and see what we need to do. I mean, or we can keep going down the same road, but this is a decision of the whole board. And, you know, I don't think we can keep, you know, the definition of insanity is doing it the same way and expecting a different outcome. And we've been doing it the same way, and this has been going on for well over a year. And we've had concerns, and we've tried something. And Mr. Colbert, to be honest with you, I love having you here, and I think it's great, but it's behind the scenes. And Mr. Colbert, or Mr. Groot, and everybody else is working on things, and I just think there's a lack of communication at times. And I see it. And when you do see it pop out, stuff like this is happening. And I think it's because there's so much going on, and there's so much. It's just, we need somebody that is talking to the city attorneys and coming up with a solution. We're still paying for it. It's not going to cost us any more or any less because we're paying the same fee. But I think it would behoove us to take a look, at least explore it and see. May not be any action, may be an action, may keep it the way it is, may change. I don't know. But I think if we don't at least take a look at it, we're going to be running into the same thing on a regular basis. So I'm up for comments, discussion, anything.
I don't disagree. I mean, if this was an issue, this should have been brought up a long time ago. You know,
You don't hear about it.
Well, we brought it up, you know, and
Via emails.
via
Right.
emails, and then we had to go back and check ourselves because, you know, we don't work just for the CRA. Just want to let that know. Then we had to go back and make sure that there wasn't an additional a rehab grant. And Bob and I have only been here for 3 years, so we've had economic development directors before us. So we had to go back and check records to find out if there was one. And then we went to our finance director and inquired about it, and we found out that that was done because of another grant that was being out. And then we had people out, and then you send emails, and then that's why I finally said, okay, Mr. Turk, what do we need to do? And he said, bring it to the board.
And we shouldn't get to that point. I mean, that's just our general rules.
But we sent this out to our attorney, though.
Yeah, but it's been the rule since day one. It's always been that rule. It's not even.
I was referring to the agenda, actually, when I made that comment.
Oh, the agenda?
Yeah, I mean, if the agenda wasn't correct, what was the issue?
Change
it on a holiday weekend.
And I just got frustrated on that one. And she got very frustrated on it. And you know, my thing was, look, if we need to change it, come and tell us. And then one of the questions I asked is, why didn't we discuss this in December? If this is so important and needed to be done, December was the time for the workshop to do it, and we didn't catch it. If we need to change it, was it so pressing that he would? And the thing that got me the most on there is that, and I'm a paraphrase, and you correct me where I'm wrong on it, but something along the lines of, I won't approve this agenda, or I won't let you send this agenda out, or something like that, unless you make these changes. And at that point, again, that bothers me because you're the CRA attorney at this point, not the city. You're working for us, and to say I won't approve something. How about this is what you need to do? But it seems to me like authority is being overstepped when you're making the comment that I will not approve this agenda. And it's the same agenda that's been used, keep in mind, for the last 20 years. And so if it needs to be changed, change it. But if it's been used for the last 20 years, come to us. And I think what I said in there was, you know, I agree that it needs to be changed and transparent. We need to be transparent, but you can't just decide to do it without coming to or getting direction from the CRA board. Because we're the ones that, look, you need to change the agenda. Okay, let's change it. At least you included us on it. So anyway.
All right, so where do we go from here?
I don't know. What is the proper way to do that, Mr. Groot? Do we just interview him or something? Or Mr. Colbert? Sorry about that. I caught myself in a second.
That's all right.
You called worse names.
No.
I have. Much worse.
Can we just have Mr. Turk find 3 people that set the qualifications and have to go to RFQ?
Yeah, you can ask staff to inquire.
Okay.
It's not a result of CCNA or any requirements of that nature. You can do that. You can have a discussion, and you're empowered to make a decision.
Okay. What do you got, Mike?
I was just saying, I read all those emails, and they were pretty entertaining as far as I was concerned. But I didn't find the tone of the tenor of the emails as aggressive or, angry. I thought they were pretty much saying or suggesting that we make these changes, and the changes that were suggested, I think, were legitimate.
Don't disagree on that.
So, I really didn't see that big of a deal with it.
But it's just a continuation of more stuff. There's just one that we're going to bring up. I mean, another one is this contract that we're redoing.
Well,
now.
where did that come from? I mean, where did the fault?
What I'm noticing, and this is just what I'm noticing, is that Lonnie and Cynthia spend a lot of time talking, and there's a lot of emails that go between them, and they seem to go back and forth on policy and stuff, which is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that, but we seem to get lost in the mix. And I will tell you, there will be times that there's 10 emails that are out there before I ever get picked up in them to decide to CC me on it before they even CC you on them. And there's just a lot of, I don't want to call it busy work, but it just seems to be a lot of, I look at the legal fees, we rank up there higher than the commission at some points. I mean, with what our legal fees are, we're ranking up there pretty high. And
Did you get a response back on your last email that I saw? Did you ask those questions?
Yeah, I didn't get a response, and that's
Mr.
all
Colbert,
right. Really
where are
the next
those?
one.
He
I
probably-
CC'd him on it. He saw it. So, Mike, to your point, you might have been kicked out of an email at some point, but I did see a couple where it was just enough was enough, and it was the timing of it. Why are we worrying about that right now on a day off? It's a holiday, and that's probably the minor of all of them. But it's just my point is that what we're losing, and we did it right with the CCNA, is somewhere the communication is getting lost. Now, in Sheena's defense, Debbie's retired. She's picking up that. Another thing we're going to have to start looking at is what do we do as far as the CRA and staff, because Sheena's one person, and she has Bob Turk, Andrew, and now she's filling in for Debbie, who just retired, and the CRA. I mean, there's only so many hours in a day.
No, I understand that.
And that's something else. I mean, we're going to have to look. One of the things that I've been talking to Mr. Turk about is Sonia, who is the 1792 CRA executive director. Maybe we can reach out to the county and talk to them about getting her a part-time over here, that we're just reimbursing the county for it, and having her come over because she's so knowledgeable, and having her pick up Sheena's slack. And that's something that I'm waiting for Bob to get back on, so we can reach out to Nicole.
Great idea.
It does sound like
And
a
we would
really
pay
good
that.
idea.
But that's discussion. The county may say, no, we're not interested in that, but for a quick fix for us, because quite honestly, the agendas go out. We got the agenda packet on Monday. We really should have it a week earlier.
Yeah.
Not picking on her, but like I said, you're walking in on something I'm not picking at. I said that you picked up Debbie's slack, CR, and everybody you have,
And I work for Mr. Thomas.
I brought him up too, and you're only one person, and that is one thing that I'm going to pursue and hopefully get an answer for, and we'll call Nicole over at the county and see if that's a possibility. Maybe we can get her 10 hours and the CRA pay it, because the one thing that we've got going against us is if we hire somebody as a CRA person, they get no benefits. So why would they come? Because that's the
For
only
the joy of working with us.
It was such a joy.
So there's a few things we need to look at. So I don't think it needs to be a motion. I think it'd be a consensus to have Mr. Turk do it. Is anybody got any concerns with it? Is everybody all right
No,
with
I
it?
think he'd be working with them more than anybody.
Who? Me?
Bob.
Oh, Bob? Well, really it'll be Bob and then whoever, Sheena. And then if we end up getting lucky to get Sonia, that would be something that
Now, what is that? 1792 CRA?
It's supposed to sunset next December, I believe.
Mhm.
Sometime this year. I'm sorry, this year we're into 16.
So what happens to her when it sunsets?
I hear they're moving her over to a different position. I mean, on a side note, we've talked intensively about maybe getting her over here to the city if they could find another position for her, and then we would pick up what Bob is and that. I did have them pull what we're paying in payroll, and all payroll combined a year, we're right at about $86,000. The main people would be, obviously we have the employee on First Street. He's like $27,000. Bob, Sheena, Cynthia, Bill
Jeff.
Smith, Jeff Davis, and I saw a little bit of Robert Bill. So every time staff's here and they're at our meeting, we're paying that. We're being billed those hours. So we're roughly spending, take the employee out, we're probably spending somewhere in the neighborhood of about $56,000 a year on payroll. So if you can deviate a little bit of it off and have somebody that's paying more attention and able to do it and taking some off of her, I think we benefit in the long run because we become more efficient. And may work, may not work, just an idea, but you got to know if you don't ask, so we'll see what happens. So
Sounds like a good idea, actually. Yeah.
Sonia's very, very knowledgeable. Very, very knowledgeable.
Projected attorney's fees for this year.
We blew last year's projections pretty bad.
Well, because we had Little John too. That was.
No, I'm not including Little John. Little John was just put on us, but I think it'll make us run a little more efficient. I just really do. Is the way I think of it. And we may end up sticking with the attorneys we have and staying with Sonia. We may change. Who knows? But I think we got to at least explore it. I'm not saying anything set in granite, but we need to at least explore it. So. And hopefully we can at least move forward a little bit on that project over there that really is 6 months in the making. I mean, we'll pretty much have the money already. So, all right. Moving on. Public comments. I've seen a few people sitting out here. How you doing, sir?
Hello.
Good. Any comments?
No, I'm good. Just here to actually observe and learn. It's a learning experience. I have a property here on 2nd Street, and I'm just trying to
Which property?
Figure out. It's 2nd Street in Myrtle. It's right across from the bank. Bank Popular. Right. It's not Bank Popular now. It's Harvard or something.
Oh, behind it. Okay. Well, that's actually right in the area. We're going to Oak to Myrtle. That's right in the area we're looking at doing a streetscape right now. That's the streetscape we're discussing. Is it the big lot behind it, the one that kind of has the railroad right away going?
No, it's the body shop.
Okay.
That was
used to be Steve's Alignment.
Steve's Alignment and
that's
the old Ratliff building.
Mm-hmm.
So that whole block or half the block.
Was it your mother that owned it prior?
My father, yeah.
Your father?
He's owned it since '74, and he passed 2 years ago. So, and we had it up for sale, but we're trying to figure out what the best solution is. So I was just curious on what's going on with 2nd Street.
All right. Well, you heard a little bit about facade grants and rehabilitation grants.
Exactly.
So there's avenues to fixing that building up.
Right.
So, well, thank you for coming. And what are you here for today? Just
Someone's going to be here every day. Every meeting, I'm sorry.
Oh, really?
Good. Who's paying for you?
Police department.
Nice.
We haven't got a bill for that, have we?
We're not paying for it?
No, sir.
Is that every meeting now? Every board meeting is now having a police officer?
I don't know who I need to get with to get included into the email.
Sheena?
Me? But can I ask a question? Why?
The chief said it.
Well, hey, that's enough for me.
Sheena, we've heard you're dangerous.
Are you going to HPB and all of them?
No, I do
just
CRA
CRA.
and this one, I guess. I'm not sure what's going to happen with it.
Wow.
But
Paul doesn't bring his gun in here. He leaves
That
it in
we
the Jeep.
know of.
I swear, I'm pretty sure he does.
I think it's to pass along what's going on in the city.
Oh, well, welcome. Great.
Well, thank you.
All right.
I certainly appreciate you
Yeah, I
being
mean,
here.
I certainly do too.
Especially when Paul raises his voice.
That's his, I know he got a little fired up. Didn't
Yes, he
That's great.
did.
Brian, you got anything?
Nope.
Are you going to talk about this?
Because I didn't know about that stuff.
I'm gonna touch off on it just briefly, just because you were there. She's gonna be coming to us next month, looking for support to keep the magazine going. And that's about all I know right now. I didn't know we were gonna get these today, but I'm sure you're wondering there's a reason. I know there's going to be a presentation of keeping it going and all that, but I'm not sure what it's
She wants to expand to the Heathrow Lake Mary area. Currently now it is in the Sanford area, and it's a bilingual magazine. Economic Development sponsored it last year, and so she's coming to us not for a grant, but out of marketing. When I went to the CRA, the conference, A lot of the other cities had publications of what they're doing within their CRA district, as well as their online, their website. So it would be a good idea for, there to be a full page just explaining what we have going on in our community redevelopment agency within the My Sanford magazine. So we have dollars in our marketing budget, and she was going to come this month, but it was recommended that to wait till Mr. Turk comes back so that he can share with you, how much economic development is going to put towards the magazine and how the CRA could assist.
Actually, I do have something. You said website.
I was just fixing
Part of our 10-year renewal was we have to have our own website.
Mm-hmm.
Who can we? I guess my question would be: can we have our IT department design it for us and pay them to do it, or do we have to go out and get an outside firm?
We checked and double checked, and they said as long as we had as long as it's linked to the city website, then it's fine, which we already have a CRA page linked to the city website. We're trying to make it to where when you get onto the first page, you see it right away versus having to go under economic development, then under community redevelopment. So we're working on that, but it just
would that suffice?
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Right now we meet the requirements because it's simply there. We post our minutes, agendas, the board, our mission statement, et cetera, et cetera. But we want to do, a lot more on it.
Okay. So you'll keep us abreast of what we need to do to meet the requirements? Because I know the sad thing about it was that, 5 years ago, we actually paid $15,000 to have our own website done. The lady came in, designed it. It took about 8 months to do. As soon as we got it up, 6 months later, the city said, no, you can be on our website. So we took ours down, went to theirs, and now here we are going back on theirs. So there you go. All right. I just have one thing to quick share. The zoo on January 30th is going to be it's not really partner, but Sonny's Barbecue is holding a invitational only barbecue cook-off at the zoo. It's going to be on the 17 acres adjacent it's inside the zoo. It's kind of like Pitmasters. In order to come to this, you had to be invited. So that means you had to win a national championship somewhere in the nation, and then you're invited to come. Grand prize is $68,000. On top of being able to see these top-notch teams cook, we're also going to be having live entertainment. So we're going to have, if you like country, we're going to have Chris Jansen. He sings "Money Won't Buy Me Everything, but It'll Buy Me a Boat."
Oh, I love that song.
He's going to be there. Logan Mize and Craig Campbell, all of them have songs on the top 10. It's a free event, but they are charging you $10 to park. And we'll be parking, utilizing the zoo and then also on Monroe Road. So if you guys aren't doing anything on January 30th, come on out and enjoy yourself. It's going to be a pretty cool event. Really, Sonny's is trying to make Florida a national barbecue championship.
What's the timing on that?
The event's going to run from 11 to 11. The Logan Mize, who's our first act, will go on at 3 o'clock. Then we're going to have Hayfire, who's a local act. We're going to do the awards. And then around 6:30, Craig Campbell, and then Chris Jansen will close out. So you can come. There'll be food. There'll be some vendors. There'll be beer, alcohol, obviously. And it's going to be a pretty cool event. It's going to be pretty neat. Sonny's their budget for this is pushing right around $400,000 is what they're spending to put this on. We're going to have big LED screens there and everything. So they're really excited about it. And Commissioner Delary put the two together, and we've been working on it for about 1.5 years now, almost 2 years in the planning stages. So January 30th, knock on wood, we'll have some decent weather. I mean, we've been getting it. So, but other than that, meeting adjourned.
Wait. Let me add one thing. Because the CRA board approved the MLK event grant, because you're over $2,500, you get tickets. So if anyone is planning on attending the event, they have a table which is sponsored by the CRA. So you can choose to attend the event or let me know if you're not able to attend the event so that we can use the tickets elsewhere.
I'm always there, so I might as well sit
When
at
is
the
the
CRA
event?
table.
January
15th.
Is that Saturday? Okay. And you have an ad as well. If anyone doesn't want their name listed on the ad, I need to know. But it just says the Community Redevelopment Agency is a proud sponsor of the MLK commemorative banquet, and then it lists the name of the board.
Cool. Yep, this is January 16th. It's a decent event. I've been about every year. It's really fun. It's quite interesting. And I gotta be honest, they usually bring in a real good speaker. Who is it this year?
It's a female off the top of my head. I can't
Last
remember.
year was Justice Perry, right? Or was that,
No, last year was the president of Florida A&M.
Florida MEU, right. Perry was for the NAACP, wasn't he? Yep.
One
Great
thing
Yes,
before
sir.
we retire, policy clarification again.
Mm-hmm.
If we as a CRA approve a facade grant or a restoration grant, and that amount of money...
Rehabilitation, right?
Pardon me?
Rehabilitation.
Rehabilitation, yes,
Okay.
sir. And that is approved and is signed off by you.
I only signed the agreement as one of 5 people signing it. It's not approved by me. Legal gets it, and they put it together.
And then you sign it.
Correct.
Okay. So, once it's signed by basically the number of people that have to sign.
Mayor, city manager, county or city attorney, and myself.
Which the city attorney is Mr. Colbert.
Or Mr. Groot. Mr. Groot is the city attorney as well. Assistant city attorney.
He's the assistant city attorney. Okay.
And Mr. Groot normally does the contracts.
So he reviews them. But any of the 5
Right.
parties can review them after they're signed.
Yes. Before we sign them.
Before you sign.
Yeah. We get
But
them.
once they're all signed,
Mm-hmm.
like in this particular situation, then how do they go by amending it and changing it without anybody knowing about it?
Because we're going to fall back on. No, they didn't.
They
That
could
was,
not
it was
have
on
amended
there. The 56,000 was in there from the beginning. It just wasn't caught. I have to be honest with you. Once we approve it, I don't read the whole thing. Maybe I should, but mine just put it in front of it for signing, and we're assuming, and that's what happens when you assume. We're assuming that they've got everything in there. But to change it, they put it in there correctly. 56,000 was put in there at the beginning and went through the whole process with that number in there.
But the information that they were given was not 56.
It's 114.
114.
What we approved was 114.
Correct.
They made a decision, whoever the parties are, to change it and to amend it. We were never notified about it.
Correct.
We can't have that continue to go on.
Don't disagree.
Not with the magnitude of improvements and the things that we're responsible and accountable to recommend with the development that's going on in this town.
I agree with you.
Well, I understand that point, but I'm curious, why was that done?
Why was it changed?
What was the reasoning behind it?
Because he felt he didn't read the address properly. He looked at the original one before that we had approved for X amount of dollars. And then there's the one for 114. And they took the position that it was the same address, and it was not. It's 2 different addresses. There's actually 8 different addresses on that building.
Well,
so
honestly, the building that was there for his first one should never have come into play for the second one, because that's a totally separate plot.
There are 2 separate addresses from the get-go.
Yeah. I know what you're saying, and that is frustrating. And I have to be honest with you, the fact that we should have been notified right away when they looked at our minutes and said 114, and then they put 56 in there, and then they choose to do it without letting anybody know. That's your first mistake.
Right.
Now, I mean, for me, I guess I have to take a little bit of blame because I signed the doggone thing without reading it, but I was assuming so. But realistically, that should have been brought to us beforehand. It should have been, wait a minute, you can't do this. You don't just do the agreement off the minutes. And the reason we can change it is because it's in the minutes, and we don't have to do any action because it falls back on what we approved. I don't disagree with you at all, Paul. That's what I'm thinking. That's why I always said I think we need to take a look at changing it at our level. And that's what we're going to look at doing. And then having the people a little more oversight. There's just too much going on. And staff, a lot of the staff is just overworked and underpaid.
I understand.
But, yes, sir.
We did talk last meeting about getting the applications revised. Is that something we might, and I'm not trying to pressure anybody, but is that something we might be able to get drafts in February?
We're working on it. At the last meeting, Mr. Colbert said that I could send it over to his office to do one master agreement, and then for them to look over at the application. I just haven't had the time to get to it.
So
Out
it's
of
a work in
curiosity,
progress.
Are they going to be rehiring for Debbie's position?
She's Nikki Osborne has already gotten the position. She starts July the 11th.
Nikki Osborne.
July.
She's not
July 11th.
I'm sorry, January 11th.
January.
Oh, I was gonna
Oh, that's
say.
on another week.
Where's she from?
She was in finance, and then she went over to the police department. Very tall African American lady.
Yeah. Okay. Are they going to rehire for Arlene's position?
No, and I wish that they would, but the city manager wants to keep that position vacant.
Well, isn't that the commission's position?
Well,
It's not
Sheena
my-
is
it's not
taking
my
over that
pay grade.
position right now.
She's going to be that position as well?
No, Sheena is that position right now.
Oh, you are too?
Yes.
Well, there you go.
But what
Now
was
we
her
got six.
position?
She
Arlene
was
the-
for the commission and the mayor. So we all split it, and you just cut the positions.
Oh, well. They'll figure that one out. That's my pay grade. All right. Anybody got anything else? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.